KGVO Missoula, KGVO FM Frenchtown, AM 1290 and 101.5 FM. Sports Talk tonight and streaming online at Newstalk, KGVO.com.
Now I can see you. Yes.
Holy cow, Jay Bedard.
Yeah.
It is Wednesday night, Sports Talk tonight. I don't know, it's like I have a Ritalin prescription or something. I don't know what's going on.
You all shaky and excited and tingly?
I'm not shaky. I'm just excited for Sports Talk. No, I'm excited because we have the new voice of the Griz, Riley Corcoran, in studio with us. It's going to be almost nothing but Grizzly football tonight. We're going to do a little previewing. We're going to lay out the game this weekend and how things have been going, and it's just going to be one of those shows where tons of information is going to be thrown out there to the people in Radioland, and I'm going to feel smarter for it too.
One show, and already there's a vibe. If you do get a chance, I know your schedule doesn't allow because you're moving around quite a bit, but if you can ever get back over to Brooks and Brown's for the noon hour luncheon,
I will.
Show,
oh yeah,
yeah, man, it was already it was a buzz yesterday.
It was a buzz.
Yeah,
not like a Geico commercial.
Yeah, we have we probably raised the old bar of expectations way high, like we tend to do as Griz fans, but there's just something about this year. There's just something about what's going on this year.
Wow. Danny, Sports Talk tonight. We are live from the KGVO studios. Remember, we are streaming worldwide on newstalkkgvo.com. Follow us on Twitter at Sports Talk Back. Podcasts. Yes, you heard it here. Podcasts. Online at newstalkkgvo.com. In fact, Kyle sent me how to get on a podcast or something.
Will this make our supervisor, Kyle Stensrud, finally go away if we acknowledge that there's such a thing as a podcast?
I tell you what, I'm excited about that. You're listening out there on the AM side 1290, over on the FM 101.5. Our phone number is always 721-1290. Oh, Riley Corcoran. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, guys? Can you believe we're 3 days away?
You know what? Yes, I can. No, I can't. I'm super excited for this. I'm super excited for you.
Thank you. I'm uber excited, obviously. I mean, I think I said that even 2 months ago when I jumped on with you. It's surreal. It's here. It's been great for me being around the team because I feel like now I'm caught up with the excitement. What you were saying just about a couple minutes ago is so true. This team, there's so many question marks and so many maybe variables we don't know about yet just because we haven't seen these guys or heard about them. There is so much talent on the field, even though we might not know their names yet. Special year coming for Grizzly football.
Well, and you always hear that with coaches, too. I mean, you hear about how good they look during spring ball and how good they look during the fall and blah, blah, blah. You know, over on the east side, you don't tend to believe it. But over here, it's not just lip service. I mean, you're right. There's a buzz. There's an athleticism to this team.
There is, and talent won't be the issue. We talked about that with Coach Seymour at the coaches show. Talent won't be the issue. The secondary is loaded. There's a possibility at a time on the field you're going to see 3 Pac-12 guys transferring in and 1 Big Ten guy. That's your secondary. We all know the D-line, Kidder, Johnson, PV, Davidson. I mean, I could go on and on. Linebacking core a bit young. We'll go many different directions here in the next 55 minutes or so, but there's so much talent on the field, and I can't wait for everyone to pile into Washington Grizzly on Saturday and see all of them.
And I think what's causing a lot of the excitement is you can't really look at a unit or a facet of that team and go, oh, God, we're going to stink because we don't have an offensive line. Oh, man, all our linebackers graduated. We're going to be terrible in the defensive second. Coach Seymour has got, I mean, he referenced somebody he thought that may be the best freshman linebacker in the country yesterday, and said the kid can't start because there's guys that are better.
Holden Ryan from Billings Central.
Yeah, there's not a unit of that club that doesn't have depth, doesn't have talent. So yeah, it's just natural to be as fired up as people are, I think.
Wow. You know, and Riley, you being brand new this year and filling some big shoes, literally and figuratively. Mick Holine, you know, the voice of the Griz from when we started at nothing to national championships to all that, and everybody knows about that. Tell us what you're going to see different out of not so much a broadcast, but some of the other stuff that you got going on and mainly in social media. And how do you get there and listen to it?
That's something that it has been the biggest thing I wanted to establish right away. First off, just being around the team each day and And, I'm at practice, and I have to give credit to Eric Tabor. I mean, that guy, he's the guy behind the scenes that really might not be the face of it or might not recognize him at some time. He's the one making everything go. But him and I are at each practice. Him and I are collaborating and going through and producing these videos during fall camp. And that's something I don't think Griz Nation has seen before. And that was pretty cool. I think the players as well as the coaches both embraced that, and that was something where maybe we could get some of these newcomers out to the public more often. As far as the broadcast throughout the game, every broadcaster has their own style. We've addressed it enough, and I'm so grateful and honored to follow in the shoes of Mick Holine. But every broadcaster has their own style, and I think that we'll see through the first 2 games. Maybe we'll let everyone else kind of formulate the opinions and see how different it is. I'm a guy, I love the backstories. I do extensive research to make sure that these fans can connect with the players more than just, hey, this guy had 6 catches for 86 yards. He's going to be good. Well, how about the story behind on what motivated him to be a walk-on and maybe sacrifice everything so he could get on the field? That's the stories that I would like to connect the fans with in the long run that, is beneficial for everyone, not only them, but for Grizzly Athletics as well.
Probably the thing you're most nervous about, Riley, is your guest appearance on the statewide tailgate show with Scott and me.
It's all over social media, by the way.
Yeah.
Is it?
I've seen the Twitters.
Yeah.
The Twitters? The Twitters?
Whatever that is.
Is that the tweets, the Twitters?
While we expect some respect, we don't want you to stumble either. So if there is anything we can do, to make that stint a little more. And by the way, Gurns, not to get off on a tangent here, but
we will.
Yeah, well, Kelsey Guernsey and I will be going to the Teddy Bridgewater Temple of Mourning shortly after the program. Stensrud will probably come along, too. Just throw that in there. The Vikings fans, it is not a happy day in Viking fan land. So.
I do feel bad for you guys.
But getting back to that, Riley will be part of our statewide tailgate show. You'll come on probably about, 30 minutes into the program, somewhere in there, and we'll find something for you to do.
Just right when we're hitting that lull that always happens after the coffee wears off.
We peak about 25 minutes into the show.
Help us!
It's perfect. Yeah. I'll come on.
We got Corcoran, we got Haslam, we got Sundberg, and then we coast. Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, pretty
Slackers.
Good. Pretty good. So Riley will be a live segment of our statewide tailgate show, which starts at 5 o'clock on Saturday. Pretty exciting.
Pretty later in the day. I mean, that could be an interesting crowd, huh?
You know what? I remember as a player, and we have Riley Corcoran, new voice of the Grizzlies, here in studio with us, talking about the upcoming season and whatever else we want to talk about. As a player, I hated those night games because it's nice to go to bed, wake up, get dressed, and boom, you're off. And now it's just like. The nerves set in a little bit and the little anxiety, and then you kind of start getting tired, and it takes forever to get here. But, hey, there's nothing like a night game, especially here in Washington Grizzly.
Well, the biggest thing player-wise is the anticipation. I mean, we've been looking at it since December 5th? You're already looking at the first game for next year, yet you're waiting through fall camp, and then that day comes, you're up early, you're wired, and you're still waiting all the way, like you're saying, until game time, until you finally can put on the pads.
Let me ask you, Gurns, because Coach Stitt, again, we were talking about each individual position group and stuff like that, and he is excited about his quarterbacks as well. It's kind of sounding like maybe Chad Chalich will be the number 2 guy and Reese Phillips the number 3 guy. But he said that maybe one of the reasons that might be is just the difference in offensive style where Reese came from in Kentucky. He's used to what Stitt called an air raid offense. Does a receiver like I'm probably going to ask you this Saturday too, so I'm letting you practice, because I didn't quite understand what the term meant, but it sounded like something a receiver would really like is an air raid offense.
Well, yeah, you do. I mean, the more the ball's in the air, if you're a receiver,
is that pretty much all there is to that?
I mean, it's
all you guys go long and I'll find somebody. Or?
It's great. I guess the only disadvantage, because I was a guy, I like to be on the field.
Yeah,
in a Bob Stitt offense, there's a lot of shuffling in and out of players just because, you're constantly on the go. You never have a chance to catch your breath. In a traditional offense where you huddle, where you run the ball, you have your moments to where you can catch your breath. In this offense, you're 1, 2, 3, you might be out on the sideline, the other guy's coming in. So as a player, I like the ball in the air, but I don't like to come out of the game. But I will say this about Montana's offense and what I have seen. is there's probably 10 receivers out there that can play. And that's not including the 6 freshmen that we have that are probably all going to redshirt.
And that's huge. There were 16 freshmen there were 16 wide receivers to start fall camp. I have 11 listed right now that I'm expecting at least to play on Saturday night. And I'm looking through it, and there's not
11 are going to play?
11. I have 11 wide receivers on my spotter board right now, and I think I don't know if all of them will get a catch, but all of them are going to be in the game. And I'm looking at them down the line, and there's so much contribution. There's so much that each of them can bring. You have the X and the Y, of course, the guys on the outside. Those slot receivers this year, and a name, and I know we'll talk about it here again in the next 45 minutes or so, is Jerry Louis McGee. This guy is incredible to watch. I mean, behind closed doors in practice, the things he can do, the defense, I think, will be a strength, at least to start. But the things he's making the Grizzly defense look like right now, wow.
Oh,
wow.
And it's not the first, the second, or the third guy that makes a tackle. It's somewhere
Yes.
down the line.
And it's hopefully a shoestring tackle to avoid being embarrassed. That's usually what it is for the defense. In return game-wise, he returned a kickback both in the spring game, the first kickback to start it, and in that third scrimmage that was closed. I don't know if that was released or not, but he started the scrimmage with a 98-yard touchdown. It's like, okay. Yeah, redshirt freshman from Coeur d'Alene, I see you.
Keep your eye on
Yes.
him. Well, hey, Denny, let's. It's about that time for trivia.
Sports Talk Tonight Trivia is brought to you by Fuddruckers and Happy Days Car Wash. If you
Can't
know
win.
our answer,
You can't win.
we want to hear from you at 721-1290. Got a $10 gift certificate to Fuddruckers, world's greatest hamburgers. Whatever you order off that amazing menu, you get to go over there to the prep tables and top it yourself to make it absolutely perfect. Now, we've been talking football. That means a lot of people will be tailgating. Make that easy on yourself. Fuddruckers will supply the beef for you with that Fuddruckers seasoning in it, and you just cook it up wherever you are. Also, all the buns and toppings you need. So ask about that at Fuddruckers on North Reserve. And from Brent and the crews at Happy Days Car Wash, you can use it at either of their locations. Happy Days on Brooks across from Dairy Queen and Happy Days out on Brooks by Fairbridge Inn. We have a gift card for the Works Car Wash, 721-1290 if you know trivia. Well, we'll start talking about the home opener against St. Francis here. This will be only the third home opener against a team in the Eastern Time Zone in the past 13 years for the Grizzlies when they take on St. Francis Saturday. Last time was fairly recently. That was 2013 when the Griz rolled Appalachian State 30-6. Prior to that, we go back to 2004 when Montana hosted A, Maine, B, Richmond, or C, Florida A&M. After 2013, you got to go back to 04. Last time the Griz home opener was against a team in the Eastern Time Zone. Was that A, Maine, B, Richmond, or C, Florida A&M? 721-1290, Gurns.
Wow, and to give you guys a little hint, they came back.
This listening audience
To
does
play
not
us.
need hints. They're so good at this. Of course, they get 3 tries. So.
Yeah, this is.
Do all three of those schools have football?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they all have football. That's not a good hint.
Are all three of those schools in the U.S.?
I'm gonna have to put both of you on the bench here pretty quick.
Hey, call in and get that answer right and win yourself a prize to change your tax bracket right here on Sports Talk Tonight. We'll be back right after this.
Now back to Missoula's Sports Talk Tonight on KGVO.
Missoula Sports.
Every second of every day.
We are back. Denny Sports Talk Tonight, brought to you in part by the Orange Street Food Farm, a locally owned and operated grocery store featuring the freshest fruits and vegetables, fresh meats, and a great beer and wine selection. And by Grizzly Liquor, located downtown next to the Iron Horse. Big Sky, big selection. And online at grizzlyliquor.com. Denny, did I hear you right, Helena?
Listening either online, newstalkkgvo.com, or the new KGVO app. Adam, I didn't ask you. How are you listening to us tonight? Adam, are you there? Whoops. Let me try this again. Adam, how are you listening to us tonight?
I'm streaming it through my phone.
Okay, all right. Yeah, Gurns, it's Adam Clinch of Helena, Montana, is our Sports Talk Tonight trivia contest.
You related to Walt?
Oh, yes, I'm his nephew.
Are you really?
I love
Yeah.
Montana. I love Montana for this here.
Where is Walt these days?
Walt, he was in New York for a few years, and then he just moved back to Austin, Texas.
Oh, great. Well, tell him Guernsey said hi. We used to golf a little bit.
That's awesome. Yeah, I will do. My first actual Griz game in person was the '93 South Dakota State game.
Well,
I was 5 years old.
oh wow, wow! I was a little tired after
How
that
about
game.
that, Gurns?
I bet.
Yeah. Gurns glory game. Love that.
Can we add more to the prize vault for this?
Sure.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, these aren't. You can't use these in Helena. Adam's going to have to come to Missoula to use his certificates.
Well, hopefully
but
around
That's
a
all
Griz
right.
game.
My wife's going to law school.
cool.
This is great.
I go over there a lot.
Man, you are a great winner. Going to be the third home opener against a team in the Eastern Time Zone in the past 13 seasons for the Griz, taking on St. Francis. Last time fairly recently, 2013, but prior to that, we go back to 2004 when Montana hosted A, Maine, B, Richmond, or C, Florida A&M. What do you think there, Adam Clinch?
I went with Maine.
Black Bears. Close one,
Yep.
too.
I
The
think
Griz,
it was, yeah.
27-20 behind 3 TD passes from Craig Oakes. And your hint, Gurns, was they came back, right?
Yeah. Well, they came back to play us
Right.
after we played them.
Okay.
How about that?
All right.
I
see
wasn't
what you
very.
mean.
I didn't want to
It
give it.
no.
It was very.
It was a really lousy
Vague.
clue.
Vague.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
Really,
Vague, yeah.
really. But a home and home, I think, is what you're trying to say. I do remember that. Adam, great job. We really appreciate you listening to the show. And
Yeah.
Helena, I take it you're a Griz fan, and there's a
for sure.
couple of pretty prominent Helena dudes on that Grizzly football team that you probably
Yep.
cheer on. So I will get your prize package mailed out to you. All right.
Yep, sounds great. Thank you very much, guys. Go Griz.
Thank you, Adam Clinch in Helena, listening to us online. Gurns, our latest winner.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Really cool. And speaking of Maine, I remember that trip. That was Bah Harbor. We drove out to. We were in Orono.
It was a night game and the weather stunk. I think.
Yeah, it was. I don't remember the game. I remember the food. I mean,
I think
it was.
We jumped all over them like 21 points before anybody could blink. But then I don't know that there was any more score in the rest of the game.
I
All
I
kind
remember
of one of
was
those games.
There was driving to the coast to Bar Harbor. There was a putt golf course. I swear, every 5 miles. I don't know what the deal was. They must like their putt.
Oh, man.
Apparently.
Because it's a year-round sport up there,
All right.
with that nice weather they get, and I'm sure in the wintertime.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Maybe the domed putt stadiums.
Wow. Hey, I gave you some homework, Denny, and Riley. I gave him some yesterday, and I'm glad that I did because we have some Big Sky Conference predictions for you folks out there. Mine is based more on gut, pretty much, because I don't know much about the other teams. But we're going to get to those in just a little bit, and those are going to be real interesting. I have a feeling.
And of course, ours are based on thorough research and
Hey, can we talk about something that maybe nobody wants to talk about?
Ooh. Controversial topic?
Yeah.
Or what? Okay, let's go.
Colin Kaepernick.
Oh, I thought that was
Let's do
going to
it.
be Stupid Athlete of the Week.
Denny.
It could be both.
Denny.
It's,
Denny. God, talk about stealing thunder.
well, you
Anyways.
set me up. I mean, what are they going to do?
Wow, what an interesting there's a lot of interesting things going on in San Francisco in regards to Colin Kaepernick with his situation as far as even being on the team, with his contract, and with how he feels in general. It's how do I say this without saying the wrong thing? That flag and this country provides people with the opportunity to say and do basically whatever they want, which I completely agree with. And we've talked about this before, Denny, with people saying things, white, black, green, whoever they are, that sometimes you have the right to say things, but sometimes those things come with consequences.
Sure.
And
I think this is a perfect example.
And I guess I would never tell somebody how or when to protest something or to air their feelings, but it kind of feels like you're biting the hand that fed you in regards to
Kinda. You're being unusually tactful for you.
No kidding. You're
I
being
am
very
being
careful.
tactful.
Gurns.
I'm tiptoeing.
Guys,
Who are you
he's
anyway?
getting
Mayor
paid-
Ingen, look out! I'm running in a no.
He's getting paid $19 million this year, and he might be a backup.
Well, and here's the deal too. So if you're in the middle, so your team's not good. You're fighting for a position on the team, and you're going to do this to bring. You've got to know that this is going to be bringing some heat. Now, that contract is guaranteed for, is it for this year?
This year for sure.
This year for sure. I don't know about what's coming up. So is he trying to get kicked off is he trying to force the trade? Is he going to sit on the money that he's got? Is this a real thing? I mean, it's really, I don't know. It's stirred up so much other stuff, which I completely understand. But man, I tell you, I don't know.
The irony of all of this is tomorrow night in his next preseason game, you saw what San Diego's doing, right? It's military appreciation night. They're having, it is so ironic that everything that's happening here, and give the Chargers credit, they said that, well, we had this all planned before Colin Kaepernick spoke out, but there will be multiple military members there. A military member will sing the national anthem. They're going to have a special flag coming in for the game. It's just the irony of it. I love seeing foreshadowing and all of those things, the irony of situations. When it comes to telling a story, this couldn't be a better example of it. Tomorrow night, what will the reaction be in Qualcomm Stadium when Colin Kaepernick sits down for the national anthem, when you have a U.S. Marine singing it with a special flag in there, with over a couple hundred military members there that people are saluting? And
San Diego, a big military city.
Yeah.
That is irony at its finest.
Whatever large fruit and vegetables they grow near San Diego, I imagine that those will be flying through the air a lot.
A lot of booze.
There's going to be some crowd control issues.
Oh yeah, and it's just an interesting way to go about things, I guess.
Yes, you are a world famous athlete. You may not be having this may not be the salad days of your career right now, but you are a world famous athlete. You play in the National Football League. There is not a police academy, a military organization. There is not a group of people that would not listen to you if you said, I would like to come talk to your group. And here's what's on my mind. Oh, wow, Colin Kaepernick wants to come talk to us. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Put on your grown-up pants and do it that way.
Well, yeah, and I, and it's kind of like when LeBron James went to the Miami Heat. There was maybe a better way to do that than opposed to having the big press conference and making a big deal about it. And and once again, you can do what you want, but looking back at all the maybe this is exactly what he wanted. Maybe bad press is good press. Who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows? But wow, hey, we talked about something.
I was just going to say, how do you turn that around? I just want to finish that.
We put it on you.
Yeah. No. How does he turn it around?
Yeah.
First time?
Oh, I thought you meant how do you turn
the
the
He
show
was looking at
around.
me like, why do we go from that?
We can make chicken salad out of what.
We already told you that we peak. The same with this show. We peak about 20 minutes in. And
Okay,
then
we've already hit that number.
We've
so
crested.
All right.
Burns and I have crested. It's on you.
Wow. Hey, well, so Rory, why don't you? What do you know about St. Francis coming to town on Saturday?
I know St. Francis averages less than 3,000 people at their games. I know that they're going to come out of that tunnel in the northwest corner and open their eyes a little bit and go, what are we getting into? They're coming off their first winning season in 24 years, so they're really moving it around, at least the coaching staff. They're feeling like they're moving in the right direction. Northeast Conference, I would compare it to more of a mid-major of maybe an FBS. Duquesne won it last year. Not known as a strong league. They'll come in here, and I really do believe this, and it's not lip service. The atmosphere will be such a shock to them that the first quarter, it'll just be a matter of can the Grizzlies execute right away before St. Francis settles in. They return a quarterback. They have an All-American returner that you can avoid. They have an All-American kicker that, well, we'll let him kick field goals all day. So you can kind of avoid maybe some of those landmines. Atmosphere will be huge. St. Francis comes in here again. They're feeling pretty good about themselves. This is the first winning season in over 20 years, but at the same time, it's a perfect opponent in week one. It's not someone that you can walk into and go, well, we are going to blow them out regardless. No, they'll provide enough of a challenge where you have to be on your toes, but at the same time, if you take care of business and execute the way you should be a comfortable win.
Well, and it's one of those games, too. You're not playing a lower classification. You're still playing as I like to say, a 1AA
Yeah, which I like.
School.
You
Yeah,
still love
I
the
like that.
1AA.
I do.
I wish
I
they'd
do
go
too.
back.
Who
to it.
I think who else says one? Does Chris Berman say 1AA?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think so.
I don't think he was aware that it changed FCS for some, but yeah, 1AA for Berman.
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness. Riley Corcoran, new voice of the Griz, in studio with us, talking about the upcoming season and what have you. We're going to have our predictions for the entire league coming up here after this next break. Sad news over there. My wife, Kelsey, is in the studio with us. She's outside the door. I think she might have listened one show in like 2 years.
So this will make 1.5 tonight, because she's only listening with
She's
one
denying
ear,
that.
right?
One and a half.
All right.
But
We believe you, Kels.
the Teddy and Denny, you brought up earlier the Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, we're going to the Temple of Mourning at 7 o'clock this evening.
The thing, I was listening on the radio, and it was a non-contact injury. He not only blew his MCL or ACL, but he dislocated his knee, and they said that the tibia, or the femur, was like sheared off of the lower leg. I mean, that's how bad it was. And I also read another headline that said quick work by Minnesota trainers.
Yeah, maybe.
Possibly saved his leg.
Yeah, saved his leg, saved his career. I mean, it's going to be a long time before he gets an opportunity to come back, but at least they might have given him a fighting chance to do that.
And by all,
But you're thinking this must be horrible. They canceled practice and
the players were throwing up. I guess it looked.
They're looking up Fran Tarkenton and Joe Kapp and the Rolodex.
Brett
and
Favre.
Brett Favre. Yeah, they're
Peyton Manning.
Peyton. I don't know. I don't know. I do know this much. Sean Hill is not the answer. So,
No, I know two things. I know one, that even if the Vikings were going to the Super Bowl, I'm thinking they're going to be 0-5 in the thing because they're already 0-4.
Great.
And two, although Sean Hill is serviceable, Teddy, it's not like the Minnesota Vikings season was completely predicated on their quarterback play.
No,
Teddy
but
Bridgewater, very average quarterback.
I think they were starting to trust him with more things in the offense, though, and some of that was based on his athleticism. Well, you don't have that now.
Well,
at least at this point.
And he just seemed like he was a very beloved guy in that locker room.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why they shut practice down after 25 minutes.
It is a sad deal.
Yeah. Hey, let's take a quick break, Denny. When we come back, why don't we get into the lower half of our predictions for the Big Sky Conference season 2016. When we come back, Sports Talk Tonight, Gerns and Bedard.
Sports Talk Tonight, live from the KGVO studio.
Missoula Sports.
We are back. Sports Talk Tonight with Gerns and Bedard. Brought to you in part by Bell McCall Ford. Great selection of new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Great deals on 2016 closeouts. Your locally owned, low-cost auto dealer for over 100 years in downtown Hamilton. By Granite Pharmacy, locally owned and operated pharmacy on South Avenue between Shopko and Big Sky High School with their convenient drive-through. And as always, our guests are brought to you by First Montana Bank, your home for free Centennial checking plus unlimited cash back every time you use your debit card. Online at firstmontanabank.com. We have Riley Corcoran, the new voice of the Griz, here in studio. We are talking about the upcoming season, and we're talking, I gave Denny and myself a homework assignment. We need to dig into this conference and come up with our predictions. And you know what? I've got mine that I hastily did in about 10 minutes, and I'm sure that I will be spot on, like I am with my Preakness and
like you did with the Kentucky.
So
Derby.
make sure you record this, Denny, and we'll replay it mid-December and see how good Gerns
Oh,
was.
yes. It's saved right over there on that audio recorder. And as you know now, on podcast.
Ah, that's right.
We on the podcast.
We are.
I want to break this down into the haves and the have-nots.
Very good, sir.
I want to hear, first of all, your teams that are under 500 in league, starting from all including team number 13.
All right. Under 500, their conference record under 500 you mean,
yes.
overall?
Conference.
Okay.
We're only going conference record.
Only going
here.
conference record.
Only going conference records. Well, that's pretty much a layup for me. Do you want me to go first?
Sure, Denny. Crossover step?
UC Davis, Idaho State, Sacramento State, Northern Colorado, Cal Poly, and Montana State will have losing conference records.
Wow. So I'm assuming you have Montana State at 3 and 5.
3 and 5, or yeah, it has to be. I was thinking, even at 500, but we're not playing 500. 500 does not count in the losing record category. So yeah, 3 and 5.
Riley's getting excited. I think I'm picking up what you're putting down here. I think I'm liking where you're going to go with this, Riley.
You are going to like where I'm going with this, and this is the realist point of view, and from what I've seen, and you know what, and it will take time for people to get rid of whatever the past was, and I understand that. But I've got Montana State at 2-6 in the Big Sky and 4-7 overall this year. Wow. Sacramento State last, Idaho State, UC Davis, Montana State at 2-6. I don't think any of those 4 teams will win more than 2 conference games. Cal Poly will probably surprise somebody, but barely ahead of Montana State. And in my surprise of the season, and this is weird because you threw a little hitch on me there and went conference record only. I think Eastern Washington will finish under 500 overall this season.
Whoa.
I think they go 5-6. You look at their non-conference, they play.
Well, yeah, they start out with 2 strikes immediately, don't
3 at Washington State, at North Dakota State, Northern Iowa at home. Tell me how they're going to win any of those 3. So you put them at 0-3, and let's just say they go 5-3 in league play. That's 5-6. So they might go 5-3 in Big Sky, but there's no way Eastern is making the playoffs with those 3 non-conference.
And you know what I should have done is, and it's interesting in the 13-team format that not everybody plays each other. Should have looked at that, but that's okay. I'm still going to – it shouldn't affect too many things.
It's all right. I only looked at it a little bit.
It does at the top. There's going to be a couple teams that finish the top half that aren't a top 3 team. And we'll get to that on the second segment probably.
I've got at 13th place UC Davis finishing at 1-7, Weber State and Sac State coming in at 2-6, and a very generous 3-5 record doled out to Montana State and Northern Colorado.
Whoa,
Okay.
Weber State. I got to argue with you a little bit there. You think Weber State is going to be 2-6?
I can't see them sustaining it.
Okay.
Didn't look at the schedule and who they're playing in conference. So
I got them at 4-4 in league.
That's where I
6-5 overall.
Yeah.
all right, well let's do this now. Let's start from the top.
All right.
And go down because it's easier for people to follow. I think.
I like that.
Danny,
go ahead.
From 1?
Yep.
Number 1 is Montana.
Yep.
Number 2 is Northern Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 is Portland State.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is North Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5 is Eastern Washington. And then I kind of, actually 5, 6, and 7, I was really kind of flipping coins there. But, I'll put them in alphabetical order. Portland State, Southern Utah, Weber State. But those are all teams that I looked at as possible 500 record
Who did you have
teams.
at 3, Danny? I thought you had Portland State at number 3.
I'm sorry, Weber State, Southern Utah were my only 2. I beg your pardon. And then I had Portland State in there just ahead of North Dakota. And I didn't look at the whole schedule either, but a pivotal game that will help. It'll be an insurance game. Montana has to beat Northern Arizona in Flagstaff. That's going to be a real challenge. But the pivotal game, the insurance game, is going to be the last one of the year when Northern Arizona, because we know that they don't finish strong, Gurns, when they have to go to North Dakota last game of the year.
Sure.
That's what's going to put the Griz in first place because they will lose that game.
We're with Riley Corcoran, new voice of the Griz, Denny Bedard, and myself. We are going over our predictions for the Big Sky Conference here in the 2016 season. Riley, you're up.
Okay, I'm going, and I did. I'm a schedule guy. I looked at all the schedules here for the top 6. That's what we're going with. I will go with Montana first, 7-1. I think they split the title with North Dakota. You look at North Dakota's conference season. Tell me who they play that's elite. Montana State.
Yeah, they've got a very favorable conference.
Very. Cal Poly, Sac State, Southern Utah at home, Idaho State, Weber State, Northern Colorado, and Northern Arizona at home.
What?
Yes. They don't play any of the Elite 8 teams. So I'm going to say Montana 1, North Dakota 2. I've got Portland State at 3. Same thing. They don't play that many elite teams. I have Northern Arizona at 4, Weber State at 5, and Southern Utah, they're a mystery every year. They don't get much media coverage, but they have a lot of people coming back, Gerns, from an LDS mission, and they won't take that. I don't think that many steps behind. So I'll go in order: Montana, North Dakota, Portland State, Northern Arizona, Weber State, and Southern Utah.
Okay, interesting. I too have Montana at 7-1. The conference is just too tough anymore.
Yeah.
To where you don't have an off game.
Which one you see them dropping, or you just figured that somewhere,
just somewhere along the line. The NAU trip's always a tough one.
Yeah.
No matter what time of the year it is. I've got NAU and North Dakota both at 6-2. I've got Portland State and Cal Poly at 5-3.
Oh, they got a nice promotion from you over.
Yes, they did. And then I've got Southern Utah dropping off to 4-4, Eastern Washington at 4-4, and then Idaho State, who very surprised last year at the nosedive they took, because the year before it looked like Kramer was getting it going. I think he gets it back going and makes them at least respectable.
So you're giving Kramer some love here.
You know what? I hated Mike Kramer for so many years.
You want a little insight? In Park City a month ago, Mike Kramer told me you're a fool if you don't pick his team last.
But that's a Mike Kramer.
That's a Mike Kramer quote.
That's a Mike Kramerism.
So there's three things tied into that one statement, but I just wanted to share that with you.
We were... Mike, how'd you guys play today? Well, we were like a load of laundry in the laundry machine and just tumbling around, and we came out without any starch.
Bingo.
Like, what the hell did that mean?
That's Krames. That's Krames.
No, but I met him a couple years ago down there doing the game at Idaho State, and he came up and he said something really complimentary to me, and I just kind of, okay, you're a nice guy.
He's an infectious guy.
He is. If
you meet him in person, there is no way you're not drawn to him by the end of your 10-minute conversation.
I agree.
Well, and there were more than a fan or two that when a head coaching opportunity came up at the University of Montana, they wanted his name in the mix.
Yep.
I was never one of those guys, because it's sort of like
going from Montana to Montana State.
I see where you're going with Idaho State, maybe on the rebound and whatnot, but Mike Kramer tends to, in his tenures, there tends to be that one-hit wonder, that one-year wonder, and then it kind of, it goes south on him again for a while, or it starts out just abysmal, works its way up, and so it looks really great, but it doesn't stay there. Yeah. There just doesn't seem to be that sustain in his coaching.
And I think he's probably mellowed out, not quite as goofy as he was early on in his tenure over there with the Cats. But getting back to NAU, and you brought this up, Denny, and I wish I had the numbers, but I've gone back over the last 18 years to NAU's season and their records. Yeah. And the first 5 games of the year, they win at like an 80% clip. They're like an 800% win.
They're a powerhouse if November doesn't exist.
And the last 6 games of the season, they were like 380 or something. I don't remember what exactly I had done, but Riley.
No, I didn't want to interrupt.
No.
I did because this is extensive research for you guys. I just wanted to bring it in for you. With NAU, you have to look at game number 2. You're going to lose at Arizona State. Then they play at Western Illinois, a playoff team, Missouri Valley Football Conference. Could lose that to start 0-2, but listen to how they finished the year. And you're talking about this with, I call it the Jerome Sowers jinx a little bit, but you look at their final 4. The Grizzlies at home, at Weber State, at North Dakota, and Southern Utah. There's no gimmies in those 4.
No.
And down the stretch, they could lose 2, maybe 3 of those games. You couple that with a loss to Arizona State, a coin flip against Western Illinois, the team that's picked to win the league could very easily miss the playoffs.
Oh yeah, and that's what's great about the Big Sky Conference is that there's going to be some team in here where we haven't thought about, and they're gonna rise to the occasion. You're gonna have a couple breakout players, and it's just gonna throw a monkey wrench into the whole dang thing.
Yeah.
Do you think there's too many teams in the league? Gerns?
Oh, I do.
Denny?
Unfortunately, because we are a division that has a playoff format at the FCS level, yeah, there probably is. You'd say, well, God, let's find one more. Let's get 14, and then you play the 6. You got 2 divisions of 7. You play the 6 in your division every single year, and then you figure out some rotating system, and then you have a playoff. You can't have a playoff because you're in the playoffs, and so unfortunately, it's too big.
Yeah, the schedules are just so unbalanced, and you with different travel and what have you. I'd like to think that the committee last year, with Southern Utah getting the automatic berth and winning the Big Sky Conference, they actually went on the road So I guess when you're looking at it, some thought process went into that. I'm assuming that's why.
Yeah,
I would
happened.
agree. I mean,
but specifically, it's too big because it's an FCS conference. And
you just don't play everybody.
No, you don't, and you can't divide it in half and have a playoff to determine the outright league champ. You can't do that because that would,
it might be coming.
I guess
you never know.
And I will tell you guys, if I'm so lucky enough to be invited on here in November, we'll go back through this thing, and you'll see that North Dakota and Portland State are going to be two teams that are beneficiaries of this unbalanced schedule that we just went through it. They don't play the elite teams, and they're going to make the playoffs, and you're going to look at a team like Eastern Washington, Southern Utah maybe, and go, whoa, they missed it because they didn't have to play these teams. And there'll probably be some debate that sparks up, and we'll see how it goes from there, but we'll see. I'm just telling you, the 1st of November, we'll look at this and go, man, I mean, they were really lucky they had this schedule, and this team was really unfortunate they had this schedule.
Oh, yeah.
Roddy, before we go to break, Roddy Corcoran, our guest, the new voice of the Griz, before we go to break, you've pretty much lived at University of Montana football training camp during the month of August. Anything that jumped out at you is just something you cannot wait to make a call on or can't wait to watch when this team is on the field?
Well, we talk about Coach Stitt and the fly sweep all the time. I can't wait to call my first one there, but believe it or not, I haven't seen many
right?
of those.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
I haven't.
We don't actually have that play, do we? It's
sort of twice last year.
Yeah, it's an urban legend on the University of Montana campus.
I never saw that as much as I thought I would. I'm excited to see guys creating space. And I know that's probably just a very generic term. You're thinking, oh, he's taking the easy way out. No, I'm not, because there's so many guys that they might throw a bubble screen out, and you're going to see Jerry Lou McGee, Caleb Lyons, someone like Elaine Hovey from Nebraska. These guys are going to make plays in space on a very basic call that might not be designed to be a home run play to go to the end zone for a touchdown, but might just be a simple screen from their own 40-yard line. And all of a sudden, we're all looking at each other going, whoa, that was a 60-yard touchdown. That was a great play in space. That's what I'm excited for.
So your voice, you'll start like this, and then as it keeps going, you're going, oh, there he goes!
Exactly.
I'll like that.
Way too fast and hope they understand half of it.
We hope it's a little better than that.
Well, yeah. Anyways, let's take our last break, Denny. When we come back, we got Stupid, we got Steele, and we've got Riley.
All right.
On Sports Talk Tonight.
Now back to Missoula's Sports Talk Tonight on KGVO.
Missoula Sports.
Every second of every day.
Yes, that's right, Denny. We are back. Sports Talk Tonight, Gurns and Medard. We are brought to you in part by Jerry Wessel's Tire Center. The locally owned Les Schwab Tire Center provides the best tire value promise. Visit them online at jerrywesselstirecenter.com. And by CHS Mountain West Co-op, Western Montana's source for Cenex fuel, feed, fertilizer, clothing, and tack for over 75 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Scott Guernsey's Steel of the Week. The Steel of the Week, as always, brought to you by True North Steel, Western Montana's industry leader in quality, manufactured, and fabricated steel products. Gurns, Steel of the Week.
You know what I'm going to go with, Denny? We stole something from the Cats. Riley Corcoran. No, we did.
I was going to say,
we did.
We
did.
great.
I don't want to get that sappy, though.
Yeah.
I haven't heard him call it
You're
kid
sure
yet.
schmoozing him, though. I don't know what you have in mind.
I am.
I want to critique after Saturday. I do, Gurns. I do. All right.
Do you want one before the Bud Light or after the Bud Light?
Both. I'm going to take notes on both of these, Gurns.
No, my steal of the week, and for lack of a better one, is the injury bug basically has stolen the Minnesota Vikings any chance that they had of reaching the I was going to say the World Series, that too.
Bud Light what?
But winning the Super Bowl, and it just...
But they will win more games than the Twins have this year.
Yes,
which is odd for an NFL team, but they will.
That is correct. Yeah. And hopefully with the leadership of Adrian Peterson and a stout defense and a midget for a kicker, they will pull through. But it's a lame one, but that's my steal of the week.
All right. Steal of the Week is brought to you by True North Steel, Western Montana's industry leader in quality, manufactured, and fabricated steel products.
Stupid athlete of the week, Danny. I was gonna go with Colin Kaepernick, but
I'm sorry. I was sure. I figured that was a layup.
yeah,
you know?
that one's almost too. I mean, that's almost Johnny Manziel-ish.
I'm excited to hear what else could be more of a stupid athlete than
right.
Colin.
I've got two of them. First one.
Riley, this is show prep right here. Pay attention.
I'm taking
if
notes.
you learn nothing else, if you take nothing else from this show tonight, this is the kind of show prep.
First one, who was known as the dirtiest football player in the NFL,
Currently?
Rodney Harrison. In talking about Colin Kaepernick's sit down to the American flag, he went on the radio and said that Colin Kaepernick needs to just sit down and shut up because he doesn't know what it's like to be black. And he has now had to come out and apologize because, hey, Colin Kaepernick's black. So, Rodney Harrison, that was pretty stupid.
Oop, my bad.
But the dumbest one. And this is so funny.
That's only the runner-up. That's the Miss Congeniality Award.
So the Dallas Cowboys played the Seattle Seahawks.
Yes.
Tony Romo once again gets hurt.
Oh.
The Seahawks once again look pretty good. After the game, Ezekiel Elliott decides that he wants to go visit a marijuana dispensary and buy some Mary Jane.
Zeke.
Because it's legal in Washington.
But it's illegal to carry it on a plane, so what? I mean,
and if you're crossing state lines, I mean, I'm sure that I don't know. And he apologized, total lack of judgment, blah blah blah. I mean, are you kidding me?
You know what I think's funny between all of this is that Teddy Bridgewater goes down, and it's a huge story, right? Everyone's shocked. It's, oh man. Tony Romo goes down. It's like, just like any other year. No big deal. Cowboys are going to have a starting quarterback and running back that are both rookies out. We're used to that.
6 weeks, what the heck?
Yeah, right.
But,
You know what? Honestly, I think Tony Romo is a pretty good quarterback. Makes a lot of mistakes out there on the field. Hasn't really played in a couple. It's almost like if you're Jerry Jones, I know you've been patient, but when do you kind of just cut the ties and say, hey, you gotta just move on. I mean, he's just brittle. And granted, it was an awkward kind of a play that Romo got tackled on. But man, if you can't count on the guy to stay healthy, then
I don't necessarily know that I've seen him play enough. I think they've kind of got a diamond in the rough though. In Prescott, they're he could surprise some people.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but when he got to camp, they didn't like him. He didn't throw a very nice ball. His timing was off, but once they got him into a game situation, he actually did some good things.
Yeah.
So future's bright for that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we'll have a new feature will be the most apologetic athlete of the week for you. There was a lot of apologizing this week, so we can add to that feature.
How about this? How about the feel good athlete story?
We could use one of those.
I don't remember the guy's name, but I'll tell the story. Florida State went and visited a grade school this week, and there was a kid, like a third or fourth grader, who was sitting by himself in the lunch room, and he was an autistic kid. And this player from Florida State, I'd never heard of him. I don't know if he's good, if he's not so good, whatever. He goes down and sits there and strikes up a conversation with this kid for the whole lunch period. Doesn't know him from Adam, doesn't know anything. And somebody had taken a picture and then posted it on Facebook and was talking about it and brought his mom, the young child's mom, to tears. And she got on Facebook and I guess just put out this really, really awesome post that got like 73,000 likes and whatever. And so. And
because it's such a good story and this guy deserves to be recognized, it's Travis Rudolph is the wide receiver's name. And it's really cool. You see how sports can connect and sports can, in any way, shape, or form, bring life to a situation that you might not think anything else of. And he deserves all the praise he's going to get here in the next couple of days. Pretty cool. Travis Rudolph, the name of the wide receiver, though.
That's why Riley's here.
Mm-hmm. You got out
to make me look
prepped on that.
Not very preppish.
No, to complete your sentences, Gerns. That's what it is, right?
You
picking up
right. What's the movie? No. You Complete Me? What's that? What is that?
You had me at hello?
There we go. Right. Don't want to go that far. I'm just saying. But.
Yeah. You seem to have a nice rapport with. I know you've only been here a few months, but you seem to have a nice rapport with Coach Stitt, and you conducted a great interview yesterday. you did have, I think, 300 questions prepared, because this is not a knock, it's just an observation, is that Coach Stitt is not going to give you a long answer. He's got it pretty regimented. Just
you do, and it's great because I feel the way with coaches shows is you establish a relationship, you know how someone is going to react to a question or not, and just by Coach Stitt and I talking maybe on the practice field or afterwards, you just know the kind of response you're going to get. And I was telling Denny, I said, well, we have a 10-minute segment here, and I have 18 questions prepared because you might only get a 10, 20-second response. There's certain things that you'll find, and that's what's so fun about a coach's show. You see the personality of somebody, you see the personality of a player, anyone else, what they want to expand on or what they're comfortable with expanding on. Coach Stitt has been great to me. We have a great relationship, and I think that he has such a vision right now that I think Griz Nation will get behind this year, especially as we get the success going. But yes, he's been great. Coach's show was awesome. And yes, I will plan probably 80 to 100 questions every coach's show, but hey, I love it.
And I think what you learn to do it, and I have through this show and through our work on the football pregame show, because this is all still fairly new to me, is that you do it that way, and then once the question is asked and the question is answered, and you move on to the next one. You don't dwell. You don't try to I'm not satisfied with that answer, I'm going to dig a little more. You don't do that. You move on to the next question. And I think that's the expectation of the person being interviewed, especially somebody who has a fairly regimented answer philosophy like that. But it's not like he doesn't shirk the questions. You're just going to get a brief answer.
Well, and there's a way to you can ask
our former defensive coordinator, Ty Gregorak. Ty, what time is it? You get 13 minutes.
Yeah.
In the answer, everybody has a different way of doing that.
And there's 4 different ways to ask the same question. I mean, and as far as I know, in dealing with coaches and media, whether it's newspaper guys, radio guys, it's like you got to develop that trust. You got to know.
Totally.
I mean, and hey, people out there, not everything's meant to be heard in a public forum, and don't have the right. Okay, to know what people are saying and have it repeated. I mean, you just don't. And as a radio guy, and you don't want to burn coaches. You don't want to make them feel stupid. You don't want to put something out there. And when that coach trusts you, it's an awesome thing.
We will be on the air at 5 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Really looking forward to it, guys.
Hey, get down to Access Fitness. I'm not going to promise you that I'm there, but if you're on the stepping machine, you might find my wife because she's been there all week.
Okay.
Can't wait for Saturday, guys.
Kicking my butt. Yes, we can't either, Riley. We wish you the best, and we'll see you before the game.
Thanks, guys.
Sports Talk Tonight, Gerns and Bedard.